What up guys, boy Mike, aka New Yorker in the Philippines. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a few reasons why we decided to move away from Eastwood City after living there for almost 3 years already. So you probably see the new backdrop. I'm not going to give you any hints besides this to where we moved to yet, but in this video I want to cover some of the reasons why we decided to move out of Eastwood. So if you watch my channel, you know I talk very highly of Eastwood City. We lived there for 3 years. I started a family there. I actually loved my time there, but there were a few reasons why we decided to head elsewhere. So I think on YouTube, especially a channel like mine, transparency is very important. It's important to tell the good side and the bad side of things, to give people, just unbiased information. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to cover some of the reasons why you might not like Eastwood City. So let's get right to it. Alright, before we start talking smack on Eastwood, I'm just playing, but let's talk about some of the good things, right? So real quick, Eastwood City has an amazing community. I met so many friends there. My time there was just awesome. Like there's the Eastwood City community group on Facebook. I made a Discord page for the gamers, and just going out and about playing board games. Like there's so many awesome people in Eastwood, and the community is definitely the highlight of the city in my opinion. Also, another advantage of Eastwood is the walkability is great. So going anywhere in Metro Manila, when it comes to traffic is not fun. So Eastwood has amazing walkability. You can go around the whole place in about 10 minutes. And then lastly, the buildings are just cheaper. So you can get cheaper rent in Eastwood, and that's 3 reasons why you might want to move there. But now, like I said in the beginning of the video, let's talk about a few reasons why you might not want to go there. Alright, so let's start with reason number 1. And that is the buildings in Eastwood are older, and a lot of them have poor maintenance. So when I first moved to the Philippines, I didn't really know much about realtors or buildings or construction companies, all that stuff. But now that I've lived here for a while, I've learned that Mega World has somewhat of a meme reputation. So Mega World's not the best when it comes to reputation. They're actually known for having poor quality, and Eastwood is made by Mega World. So if you put that together with the fact that a lot of the buildings are older, it's sort of a recipe for disaster. And in our case, we had a lot of problems in our building. I'm not going to say which one, but we lived in an older building next to the Eastwood Mall. We'll just leave it at that. And there are just a lot of issues. So some of the things you're going to deal with in older buildings is you're going to deal with a lot of problems like elevators being off, brownouts, older amenities, just things like that. And that's all things we've personally dealt with. So for example, we had 4 elevators in our building, and the most I've ever seen working during the 3-year stay there was 2 at a time. Usually it's 1, and sometimes it's even none. And we lived on the 32nd floor, so getting downstairs is hard, especially with a kid. And God forbid if you have an emergency or something, what are you going to do in that case? So yeah, older buildings. Another thing is brownouts, or well, in America we call them blackouts. Basically having no electric. Sometimes it's maintenance reasons, sometimes it's not, but when you're going 8 hours a day in the hot Philippine weather with no AC, no electric, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it happens too often. And then another thing is just amenities, right? So we didn't really know what we were missing when it came to amenities, because we've always lived in Eastwood. But once we started looking outside of Eastwood at some newer buildings and just getting tours, we just realized that the amenities are really behind on the older buildings. And I mean, that's to be expected, but those are just a few of the things. Alright, and number 2. So number 2 is a big reason for us, and it kind of goes with reason number 1 when it comes to maintenance and poor upkeep, is ippies, what they call them here in the Philippines, or cockroaches. So Eastwood has a big cockroach problem. Almost every building there has a cockroach problem. I mean, I don't care if someone tells you that they don't have any cockroaches in their unit. That was also our case too for 2.5 years, but it's just kind of luck of the draw. I know for a fact, just from having friends in all the buildings, having realtor friends that work through all the buildings in Eastwood, from experience, I know that mostly all the buildings have a problem with German cockroaches, which are a real pain in the ass to get rid of. Eastwood has, like I said, almost 500 restaurants it's quoted to have in a small vicinity. So you mix that with the Philippine weather, and it's just a recipe for cockroaches. You know what I mean? If you have that much food in one place on top of each other, it's just going to be a disaster, especially with older buildings that are not really maintained. So if you can't deal with some bugs, then you might want to reconsider, because that was one of the main reasons we moved out. I hate bugs. I don't want to deal with cockroaches. I don't want to see them. We took good care of our place. We got the cockroach baits and all that, and it was okay. Like I said, we didn't have a crazy infestation or anything like some people have. We would just see, like one or two here and there, but it started to become more often. We would see one a day, right? And at first, like the first 2.5 years, we didn't see any. So sometimes that's part of condo living. They can come through the drains, they can come from neighbors, they can come basically from anywhere. So if you don't like cockroaches, that's going to be maybe something to reconsider, because it's a big problem in Eastwood City. Okay, so number three is traveling outside of Eastwood. So like I said, for a pro, one of the best things about Eastwood is how compact it is, and the walkability, the accessibility. You can get pretty much everything you need right inside of Eastwood. They got malls, they got stores, they got a health clinic, they got supermarket, they got, things to do. Everything is there, right? But the problem is almost everything is there. And when the time comes that something's not there, there's only one way out of Eastwood, and that's C5 Highway. So if you're Filipino watching this, you already know how much C5 Highway sucks. It's a pain in the ass. If you're not a Filipino watching this, you're an American, maybe you're thinking about moving here. Well, C5 is just basically a main highway that connects the entire Metro Manila from one side to the other, and the traffic is just horrible, especially during rush hour, which is not really an hour long. It's more like from anything from 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. you're going to be stuck sitting in traffic. So yeah, Eastwood, when you're going outside of it, is a real hassle. That was, becoming a pain for us, because I'm doing the YouTube thing more. I want to do vlogging, I want to do content, and every time we would leave, it would just be like such a hassle to get back or to get to the place we're going. On top of that, Eastwood is a little bit out of the way compared to Central Metro Manila. It's not really a central location, so the grabs are going to be a little bit more expensive since you have to travel further distances. So keep that in mind. It's a nice place. If you're just like a person that doesn't like go out that much, to go travel that much, has most of the things inside of it. So 9 times out of 10, that's a pro, and it's great. But those times when you have to leave, it really is a pain. Number 4. All right, so number 4 is going to depend on your risk tolerance, I guess. And number 4 is that Eastwood is very close to and almost directly on the fault line. So if you guys don't know what the fault line is, basically, you can look it up on Google. I'm not an expert either, but it's basically where earthquakes, the ground can split, and it's going to be like more active, right? Where there's going to be more damages if it does split. And Eastwood is right along one of the fault lines here in Manila. So if you've heard of the big one, if you've done any research on the Philippines before you moved here, there is a big earthquake to be expected, or something talked about, for a long time. And with all this news happening in Asia, I don't know if you guys are keeping track back home there in America, but there was a huge earthquake in Bangkok, actually one of the first earthquakes of that magnitude that took down a building. Same thing in Myanmar recently. And because of that, we just started thinking, maybe we wouldn't have moved because of that if we weren't already moving, but since we're already considering moving, that's something we had to keep in mind, and it was definitely a factor. Eastwood is on the fault line again, so it depends on your risk tolerance. You might stay there and you might not have any problem, but the thing is, once you do have a problem, it's going to be too late already, that's the thing. You might never have a problem, but if you do have a problem, well, guess what? If an earthquake's happening and you're on the 30th floor of a high rise, at that point, all you could do is pray and hope everything is okay. So, and again, like I said on point number 1, older buildings, Mega World doesn't have the best reputation. So all those things put together, it made us want to reconsider living that close to the fault line. Okay, and then finally, number 5. Number 5 is just that fact that we lived in Eastwood for 3 years and we just kind of outgrew it. I mean that both literally and figuratively. So literally in the sense that Eastwood is a small place. It's not that large. Like I said, that could be a pro or a con. I think it's both a pro and a con, actually. In some cases, because of the walkability, it's a pro. In other cases, when you live there for a long time, and if you're someone that gets bored, or, you know, even if you don't get bored easily, after 3 years, you might get bored of doing the same thing, taking the same walk. Eastwood's designed basically like a big circle, right? So you just walk around the circle. In 10 minutes, you've seen everything. And yeah, that's the best part and also the worst part. We just kind of outgrew it. I was losing a lot of my passion there, my motivation. I don't want to, you know, there's only so much things I can cover in Eastwood because it's small. And then on top of that, we just wanted to get out to a better location in central Metro Manila so we can have a better launching point to go different places. Because this year, now that Teddy's getting older, he's getting bigger, we have more freedom. I want to really focus on vlogging more different locations, showing you guys within Metro Manila, showing you guys outside of Metro Manila. And yeah, we just wanted a better home base, a better launch point. So that's what we went for. Yeah, so overall, those are a few reasons, you know. Like I said, I have usually nothing but good things to say about Eastwood City. I've done a lot of vlogs there already, a lot of coverage. I'm actually, I would say, one of the first foreign vloggers that really, you know, home based in Eastwood and covered it on YouTube. And I've seen a lot of people moving there. I met a lot of people ran into me, and I think that's awesome because Eastwood is a great place. Like I said, it's so amazing in terms of community. The people we met there have all been awesome, and I wouldn't trade our time there, you know. I think it was great. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I think it's important on YouTube to be transparent and to be honest, because sometimes on social media, people just want to talk about the good stuff. They don't want to talk about the bad stuff. And then if you're watching a channel like that and you're looking for actual information, it's like, how do you get it? You know what I mean? Of course, I can make everything look good. That's what sells, right? That's what sells on YouTube. Like, hey guys, welcome to my... But, you know, my channel's not like that, right? It is like that sometimes, but only if it deserves to be. This is reality. It's the real world. There's good and bad, and that was my experience living in Eastwood City. So, anyway, you guys are probably wondering where we moved to, where we live now. So I give you a little hint. You can see the backdrop here. We're on a roof deck. And then I want to tell you guys in the next video where we ended up moving to. So if you could recognize this based on this backdrop, or if you have any guesses where we're at, leave it down in the comments. I'll let you know. Next video where we decide to move, I'm going to be giving you guys a whole tour of the property. I'm going to be talking about how much we're paying for a room. I'm going to give you guys an apartment tour in another video. I'm going to do it all. So we took a lot of time to decide on a place, and I think we found one that we really like. I just want to share that knowledge that, you know, I gained from looking around so long with you guys. So if you're in the moving process, that way some of these videos can help you guys out too. Anyway, shout out to Eastwood. I love you guys. Sorry I've been taking a little bit of a break from YouTube. We've been so busy with moving, but we're going to be back and we're going to be doing more vlogs than ever. So appreciate you guys watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.